Here we are, a finished product. Plan B was just to put this fabric over it with some glue because, yeah, I don't want 3 egg yolks on my cover. So here is the flip through, and you'll see that little blooper if you so choose. I made a really simple closure. There's the front and the back. I just put some eyelets with some skinny silky thread. Okay, so let's open this up and see what Daisy. Oh, my phone's gonna always ring. I always forget to put it on vibrate when I get going. I used a book. I took the paper out of the book. Some people call it the guts. And then I lined it with this beautiful Thomas Kincaid page that I had taken out of that book. And then I was inspired by Crafts by Martha. She's my favorite lately. I won this in a giveaway. You can see that up in the iCard. You can go and look at that and see what this whole thing looks like. But she had a giveaway for her 500 subscribers, and I won. And then I decided I would use her technique to put my book together. This is done with my sewing machine. I like to use my sewing machine with my journals because I'm a sewer from way back, and I just like to take any opportunity that I can to use that sewing machine. So you'll see little charms on the edges as we go along. This page is another one from Thomas Kincaid. Yeah, little bunny in the corner there. And my friend brought me over a yellow doily and a box of beads. So I'm trying to utilize those. I started off with the theme of daisies because that's what she likes. This is for my niece. Let's see what we got in this little flip. Although there's no and these are some more of her favorite colors. She likes the dusty rose. And as I got more into making more signatures, I was running out of daisy stuff and daisy theme colors, and I can't really find that much at the store. I couldn't find any daisy stuff at the store, actually. Maybe because it's a spring flower? I don't know. I think it's a summer though. It's not just spring. But little journaling spot, and I don't know if you recognize this. If you watch any of my other videos, you will recognize this as Brad's boots. My son Brad, leaving his footprint. Yes, leaving his footprint. So, more coffee dyes and decoupaging with some lace and fabric. It's a little stiff, but it's interesting looking. And then onto the third signature. Sewed that with my sewing machine. This is a little booklet that I made. And these bright colors just to brighten things up and get the last signature. As I was making this, I was realizing that it was getting fatter and fatter, and I really needed to make another signature. This is a little collage along with this that I made. And some blank pages, not a lot though. I keep feeling like I gotta stuff them, and I'm gonna make one without it one of these days. We'll see. Look at that as I'm talking. Make it happen. And And this is her favorite song. Some more decoupage. Cute little bunny. More collaging. And here's another little mini book. And here is something really cute that I found this. This pertains to the town that we used to live in. And so it's a ticket to a basketball game. There's Brad's boots again with some cards inside. Made use of that envelope. And some more pretty books. And then my husband had this great idea to make this into a big flip. See? It's gonna flip and it goes on for days. Some decoupaging and then a pocket. And I love this. The book is about angels. She kindly reached and took my hand and brushed my weary brow, and as she did, a quietness passed through my soul somehow. And that's the big part of the book. And then we have another Thomas Kincaid picture glued to the back, and then this special binding, which I will now show you how I did. This is the flip through. Hopefully you will like and subscribe. This was a curtain. So what I'm going to do is use the hem on it and use Grandma's scissors to cut just outside of that hem with the pinking shears. So I got some embroidery floss and I'm just doing a running stitch around this piece of 40s fabric to apply that to the binding to cover up those words that I don't want on my book cover. So it's a simple little process to give the illusion that the binding is hand sewn. So now that's dried and I'm just deciding, do I want to add some yellow, because I do have yellow in the book and that didn't look right. So I pulled out this really pretty lace and just trialed where I wanted that to go and decided that it would go nicely on either side of the binding that I just laid down. So now that will be glued with the 3-in-1 glue, and I glued that down sparingly and let that dry up. Gave it a little bend to make sure that it would bend nicely with my book once it's got the signatures inside of it. Now I'm going to work on the signatures. I've taken that cloth that I cut with the pinking shears and I've put my holes in it because I'm going to be doing 3 signatures. So the signatures will then, once they're sewn into that piece of fabric, they'll be glued down on the book. So I had to make sure that I lined these up nicely, these signatures, and I checked to make sure that everything was on the fold before I poked my needle through it and tried to keep it lined up with those holes that I made on that yellow plaid old curtain hem. That's what I'm going to call it. So binding this down onto that right now, and I have 3 of them, so I want to try to make them pretty accurate, and I'm doing it the best way that I know how, which was to make the holes first and then to use the awl and just punch through. So that's what I'm doing here. And once this is done, that I'm going to use that waxed binding thread because that goes through the holes the best, and I just like the look of that. I'm going to use the off-white and get that done. So here we go, making sure it's nice and lined up. Here we go, making sure it's nice and lined up. And now we are going to use the glue and get this binding, this 3 signature bound book into the binding. There, that was a lot of words to get out. I'm using 2 glues here. I got a little glue on the side there, which I was a little nervous was going to show up, but I have to just keep moving on. And so I smearing all that glue all over because I really want this to hold well, and I am using the second glue. I just really got nervous because this is such a heavy binding, a heavy set of signatures that I really want it to set in there nicely. And so lots of glue for this and lots of gluing time, and not rush this process. Once it's down there, glue it nicely, press it in there good, and use my fingers and put some more extra glue on the side here. And it's, you know, a little bit of a process. I kind of like this. I just keep challenging myself with a new process with each journal, and it's fun when I do that. Now we're gonna address the cover. Now I had this great idea, since decoupaging went so well for me on the inside of it. How about, now here's my big blooper, how about I use this daisy napkin and I decoupage that on this beautiful blank green background cover that looks great with nothing on it. Why don't I just try it? So here I go. So I take the daisies, dip it in water, and like make my rough nice edges presentation, and get this all ready to go on the book. The Mod Podge, go to town, and as I'm doing it, I'm thinking, this isn't going to work, Joanne, but I keep doing it because I already committed. And then, boom, I use the hair dryer, blow dryer thing, to heat it up, only to find that it looks like 3 egg yolks sitting on top of my beautiful green cover. Major blooper. No matter how much I try digging it off with my fingernail, it will not come off. That's why I put the cloth cover on the book.